The Norwegian author Henrik Ibsen is considered one of the most influential playwrights of all times. Of his major works, ADollsHouse is well known in Korea and has been revived countless times. But until recently, a complete Korean translation of all of Ibsen's 23 plays was not available. Over 15 years ago, Kim Miy-he, Professor Emeritus of Hanyang University, set out on her journey to change all that. Making numerous trips to Norway and learning Norwegian, Professor Kim published Ibsen's complete works in Korean in 2022, and last year was awarded the Royal Norwegian Order of Merit. She joins us today to talk about her dedication to conveying the true essence of Ibsen's works and why his plays are still relevant today.
당신은 도덕적 지지대 없이 너무 오랫동안 지내왔으니까요.
아니, 뭐라고요?
스쿨레든장께서 스스로를 왕이라 칭했네.
So, Professor Kim, welcome to the Globalist.
Thank you for the invitation.
Well, we are very happy you made the time to join us today. Now, you have translated all of Henrik Ibsen's plays. Why Henrik Ibsen?
He was and is a world-famous author or playwright, but we Koreans forgot even his name. That's why I tried to introduce Ibsen's essence to Korean people. And I saw many plays in Vienna when I studied Theaterwissenschaft, theater studies.
Yes. So when you were studying in Vienna,
Yes.
you saw a lot of his plays.
Yes.
Did you think they were special even then?
Ibsen was always on the repertory of National Theatre, Ibsen's plays, and I thought, oh, it's interesting at the time. When he began to write plays, there was just commercial theater. And Ibsen was an author of serious themes. Many people, especially in Germany, because he lived in Germany, and thought it's a blitz. And when I returned home, I could not enjoy Ibsen's plays in Korea. I was so sorry.
Ah. Well, you know, Ibsen is considered like the father of modern realism.
Yes.
So it's not like Shakespeare. It's not like, you know, fairy tale, Midsummer Night's Dream kind of thing. It's very down-to-earth stories.
Yes. Ibsen wrote his plays in realistic styles, but his themes were very modern, feminist, human pettiness, corruption of the society, and false patriotism and partisanism in politics.
Oh, you're talking about The Pretenders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pretenders. Actually, it was Ibsen's stories. He asked always himself, am I right to be a writer? Am I suitable? Is it proper for me to be a writer? It's the expression of his self.
So there's a lot of moral lessons in Ibsen's plays. Now, the most famous one, Ibsen, that we know of is, of course, A Doll's House.
Yes.
You told me you saw a production of A Doll's House last year.
Last year.
Last year. Where did you see it? What was it like?
I think it was the best Ibsen Nora production that I ever seen. And Nora was performed at Hudson Theater in Broadway, and there was no action from the actors. Nora just sits on the chair, but she was leading all the other characters. The end of the play, Nora leaves the stage through great big doors into 45th Avenue, Broadway.
Oh, into the real street.
Real street, yeah.
I don't know if everyone knows, but the final scene in The Dollhouse is when Nora, who is sort of the wife, leaves her husband. You know, leaves her
Three
life.
children.
Yeah, her 3 children, her husband, and walks out. But that play was that she walked out into the real street.
It was amazing production. And the title role of Nora was Jessica Chastain, Best Actress Oscar Prize winner in 2022. She was great.
I hear it was considered one of the top revivals in 2023 by the New York Times. And I also hear that, of course, A Doll's House is part of your translation.
Yes.
All 23 plays. Do you have a favorite part of that play? Can you read some to us?
Why not? I'm glad. This is the dialogue of Nora just before she leaves the house.
Yeah, so her husband has just asked her to stay.
Yeah.
Pleaded her to stay. And this is Nora, her reply.
Yeah,
No.
response. 내 자신을 가르치기 위해 무언가 해야 해요. 그럴 때 당신은 날 도울 수 있는 남자가 아니에요. 나 혼자서 해야 하는 일이죠. 그래서 난 당신을 떠나겠어요. 나 자신과 내 주변의 모든 것들을 이해하려면 난 혼자서야만 해요. 그래서 난 당신 집에 더 이상 있을 수 없어요. 난 내가 무엇보다 한 인간이라고 생각해요. 당신과 마찬가지로. 어쨌든 그렇게 되도록 노력해 볼 거예요.
Some people consider this a very female empowering statement. Is that how you feel? How do you feel about it?
Actually, I don't agree that A Doll's House is a feministic play.
Oh.
It was the icon of feminism. But Nora is a human being before she's a woman. But A Doll's House will be performed in the future for many, many years because we human beings have marriage system. There are always conflicts between wife and husband, between woman and man.
So you don't want to limit it as a feminist. It's much more than just for for women.
Yeah.
That is more than just a feminist play.
Absolutely. I see this, I hope that anyone can relate to this play. Yes, it's this great piece of feminist literature. It goes beyond gender. It really speaks to anyone who is playing a part to please a person in order to have power.
Which one of Ibsen's work is your favorite?
Actually, my favorite play is Bran. It's the name of the hero, and he is a man of discipline, and he is a man of firm faith. He requires always all or nothing from his families, his wife, and so on. A character of Bran we can find in everyday life. Maybe I have some idealistic side in my heart, and it's the expression of Ibsen's idealism. But Ibsen wrote this play in verse.
Verse?
Not prose, not prose.
Oh.
There are so many monologues of Bran, and it's very long, but Bran made Ibsen so famous in Scandinavia and then in the world. It was the springboard for him to be a world famous writer. That's why I like the play. Yeah.
Was that ever performed in Korea?
No,
Never.
it was hard to be staged. I let my students for reading presentation.
I can see that be a very good, thing to teach.
Yeah.
A lot of monologues would be great.
내가 교과서 좋아. 이것도 아니다. 너무 집중했기 때문에.
교수님께서는 일단 항상 사람과 사람으로 하는 거라고 이렇게 이야기해 주시면서 저는 이제 몸으로 이제 무브먼트화하는 사람이기 때문에 다양한 감정으로 어떤 무용이든 연극이든 어떤 다양한 예술을 어떻게 감정으로 표현할지에 대해서 생각하면서 그렇게 하고 있는 것 같습니다.
나는 힘들어서 하겠사오니 도와주소서.
내가 만약에 노르웨이가 아유 그지 같은 이 나라 이렇게 생각이 들었으면 입세는 안 했을 거야 아마. 근데 내가 크루즈를 다니면서 그 장엄한 자연 이런 거 보면서 눈물이 저절로 나는 거야. 너무나 감동을 해가지고 이 나라는 너무 괜찮은 나라다. 이런 나라에서 작품을 쓴 사람은 어떤 작품을 썼을까. 그래서 이제 들여다보기 시작하고
교수님하고 같이 공부할 때는 이 안에 더 파헤쳐서 우리가 어떤 걸 더 들여다볼 수 있을까. 그 번역할 때 그 사람 이름을 어떻게 부르는 것도 되게 중요한 부분이잖아요. 왜냐하면 이름 하나하나에 다 의미가 좀 있는 부분이니까. 그런 것까지 하나하나 정확하게 알려주셔갖고 그런 게 많이 기억에 남는 것 같아요.
To translate Ibsen's plays requires an extraordinary level of linguistic skill, cultural understanding, and creative adaptation. So with those words, I would like to ask Professor Kim to come forward to receive the insignia and the diploma.
내가 알기로는 입센을 노르웨이 원어에서 전부 다 희곡을 번역한 경우 세계적으로 또 드문 경우라고 아마 그래서 노르웨이 대사관에서 훈장을 줄 것 같아요. 입센 작품 번역해서 10권 책을 내고 났을 때도 정말 눈물 날 정도로 내 스스로에 대한 자기만족과 내가 의도했다는 걸 끝냈다는 것 때문에 정말 눈물 났지만 딱 1년 후에 노르웨이 대사관에서 연락을 받고 정말 눈물이 왈칵 나더라고요.
So you were the first and the only to translate all of Ibsen's works into Korean. What was the process about? Why did you think that you needed to translate the whole plays?
In Berlin, the International Ibsen Conference, in 100th commemoration of Ibsen's death, Ibsen died in 1906. Many theater directors and scholars took part in the conference, and they reported Ibsen reception in their countries, but I could not report anything. It made me so depressed. Maybe at that time, I made up my mind, okay, to study Ibsen. So many materials in English and German. I can read it, then I can do something.
Okay, so you studied in Vienna,
Yeah.
so you knew Korean and you knew English and you knew German, but you learned Norwegian. in order to translate Ibsen. Why?
Since 2007, I studied on Ibsen and published a critical biography of Ibsen titled The Cornerstone of Modern Theater, Henri크ibsen. And I had to read Ibsen's plays, all of Ibsen's plays, to publish the book. I saw a little difference between the two versions, English versions and German versions. I knew during the study that James Joyce, Thomas Mann, Rainer Maria Rilke, and Stefan George learned Norwegian to read Ibsen's originals. I asked myself, why not me? If they could do it, I can do it. And I began to learn Norwegian by myself.
Okay. How old were you when you started learning Norwegian?
63.
63, wow. Okay, so at 63,
Yeah.
you decide to learn an entire new language in order to understand Ibsen's work. So when you read Ibsen's work in Norwegian, was it different?
Yes.
How was it different?
I could understand fully Ibsen's plays, different from English version and German version. There were some translations in Korea, not all, some, a couple of or several. My translation are much better than that. I could not understand what the translation was.
So you would have had to translate a translation version, but you bypassed it, went to the original.
Yes.
Ibsen's work for Korea, you know, ADollsHouse, The Pretender, do Koreans of today, do you think they have something they will relate to Ibsen's work?
Some of Ibsen's plays would be very good for Koreans. During my study, I proposed, for example, 3 theaters to produce Ibsen's plays
In Korea.
in
Yeah.
Korea. And 2012, Myeongdong Theater produced Hedda Gabler. And 2014, Pillars of Society. And the audience was so impressed because 세월호.
Yes. That was in the Seoul tragedy, ferry tragedy happened.
It's similar, the contents. That's why many audience, I'm told, shed their tears.
나도 데려가요.
나란 사람 아무 의미 없어.
너 그런 거 이해할 필요 없다.
그러니까 넌 그의 아내가 될 수 있는 거야.
이거 완전히 미국식이구만.
아니, 왜 그래요, 여보? 무슨 일인데 그래요?
자네가 한번 읽어볼게.
네. 인디언걸 최소한의 수리, 지체 없이 출항시킬 것, 비상시 화물로 수평을 유지시킬 것.
사람들 대체 생각이 있는 거야? 보십시오, 영사님. 거대한 세상이라고 떠들어대는 곳에서 어떤 짓을 하고 있는지. 선생 말씀이 맞소. 이 사람들 이 사람 목숨 따위는 신경 쓰지도 않아요. 4-5세 안에 인디안걸 출항시킬 수 있겠나?
예.
And 2017, The Pretenders, just before the presidential election.
Oh, we have another election coming up, so you know maybe it's time to put it up again.
And this year in April, the Seoul Municipal, which produced The Pretenders, will stage Johann Gabriel Borkmann. It's a man of hero.
Oh wow! Now 15 years. I mean that's a long time.
Yes, it's a long time.
And that must
I
have
was
been
young
really
and I'm
difficult.
old now.
Oh, well. What was the most difficult time for you?
Translations itself, very hard. To learn Norwegian by myself was secondly hard for me. And at the time, I had many things to do. Theater circles, teaching at the university, and so on. I had to finish my translations because I intended to I like challenges.
Did you think it was going to take 15 years?
Never.
Did you think it was going
No,
to
never and ever. No.
It could be much shorter?
I wasn't sure whether I would finish or not, actually. That's why I didn't tell anyone that I'm learning Norwegian to translate Ibsen, even to my family, to my daughter, to my husband. I didn't say. I didn't tell them.
So you kept it a secret?
Yes.
My goodness. So now that you're done, would you do it again?
I'll do it again. Yeah. It was interesting. It gave me energy because I have the desire to finish my work. That's why I had to be energetic.
That occupied your life for 15 years, a long time. Now it's all over. What is your day these days?
I'm translating.
You're translating again?
Yes.
What are you translating?
An American book, theater theory, about immersive theater. And I'm writing essays.
So
A
you're
certain publisher wants me to write essays about Ibsen and my life.
Wow.
And so on.
So can you give us a little insight onto what you're going to talk about, Ibsen and you? Ibsen and Professor Kim.
I visited Norway many times. I felt in more and more in Ibsen his early hard life and his wife Susanna, the strong woman, and Ibsen's works. The most impressive is his untiring working and his strong will to write. He actually was poet, not playwright. And then he began to write plays, and he was a painter, and he was theater director, and he was also costume designer.
Wow.
He was a
man of many talents.
Many talents, yes. That impressed me.
I'm sure there are similarities between yourself and Mr. Ibsen. So you've seen a few, more Ibsen plays come onto Korean stage. What would you like to see? I mean, would you like to see maybe a theater dedicated to Ibsen of some sort? What are your dreams about how Ibsen is treated in Korea?
Read my translations and have desire to stage his plays. That's my hope now.
Well, I mean, you've laid a great foundation for that. So we may be seeing a lot more of Ibsen plays in Korea.
Maybe I can play a role as dramaturge.
Wow. Yeah. So you're going to go back onto the theater world, into the theater world.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. I'm old enough, but I can do it.
Oh, no one's age doesn't make any difference.
Yep.
So we'll be looking forward to that.
Thank you
for
very
joining
much.
us. And that's it for me this week. I'll be back next week with another globalist who is putting Korea on the map. Sun Ji-ae out.